once again, everyone, and welcome to the Sanctuary. Once again, we're playing Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail, and tonight we are starting the first of many role quests that were released during Dawntrail's initial expansion. So tonight we are starting the tank role quest line. As always, I'm Chris Valentine, your host, aka Gruznik X. Now, before we get into the new role quest, we are going to be doing something completely different. We kind of sort of did this with the Endwalker role quest, but there are now some new jobs into play, so instead of rotating through them all and trying to get all of them in, I have introduced a new system, and that system starts off with a wheel. In this case, the Wheel of Tanks. So, here's how the Wheel of Tanks works. As you can see, we've got 4 different tanks to choose from: Paladin, Warrior, Dark Knight, and of course, my favorite, Gunbreaker. Each and every quest we do on the role quest, we will spin this wheel to see what job we're doing it as. And don't worry, we are doing this with every single role quest as well. Every single role quest will be done with it. I've got one for casters, I've got one for physical DPS, I've got one for range, and I've got one for healers as well. So, in this case, say hello to the Wheel of Tanks. So, what job will we be doing our first role quest as? Looking like... ooh, goody! We get to do one of my personal favorites. Warrior will be used for this first outing on the tank role quest line, so let's... I love nothing more than this tank lamp. Now I love Warrior's Agoge gear. I think that's how you pronounce it. Of course, I did not like the helm, so I glamored it to my Vigil eye patch. But everything else looks just plain phenomenal. This is how a warrior should look, and if I do not continue with this glam after maxing out next expansion, I will be shocked. But anyway, so the story in terms of the role quest is that each of the 5 quest givers has had something stolen from their tribe that pertains to a Tural Vidral. So, that being said, let's not waste any more time. Get right down to it with our level 90 quest, the Narwhal Beacon.
Oh, hello. Judging by your attire, you must be the traveler from across the sea. Then I suppose Brukevu has enlisted you to our aid. That you were guided here safely must be the work of the brave Narwhal, who remains watchful evil in this dire time. We are ever grateful for its vigilance. My name is Loazini, and I hail from the northern reaches of Shaktaral, where even our breath freezes when caught in the chilling wind. Our people revere a Tural Vidral of the Narwhal, whose essence rests in the cradle of the sleepless, our most sacred treasure. Through fathomless depths it swam without rest, protecting its home from any who would do it harm. Legends tell that the Narwhal could place the burden of its fatigue upon another, and thus was able to maintain its vigil night and day. So too can any who possess the cradle lull a person, willing or no, into a deep slumber, all while avoiding the need for sleep themselves. Needless to say, such power could cause untold harm in the wrong hands. Thus was the greatest warrior of our village, Tentoawa, tasked with crossing the ocean and returning that which is most secret. I'd have joined him, but I feared I would only be a burden. So I remained here, that I might find someone to send to his aid. Tentoawa has ever rushed bravely and blindly into the thick of things, leaving me behind to watch and worry. But if there is anything I can do to help him, even a little, then I must. Rukevu has done well to send you to me. I can tell you are just the man to temper his more reckless tendencies and keep him safe during his quest. As luck would have it, a letter from Tentoawa arrived shortly before you did. It seems he discovered that the thief made their way to a place called Ishka. While I don't doubt his prowess, even Tentoawa would be rendered helpless before the narwhal's lullaby. Please, could you follow him to Ishka and find him before he does anything rash?
I won't let your treasure be misused.
Thank you, Chris. I knew the narwhal would guide a brave protector to our side. Tentoawa sails to an unfamiliar place, but despite his hasty nature, he doubtless spent time gathering information about his new surroundings before planning his next step. If Ishgard has a place like this one, where people gather to drink and talk, he might go there first. Ask for a swordsman with blue hair and attire like mine, and I'm sure it won't be long until you find him.
All right, let's do this. All right, off to Foundation. Haven't been there in a while. And I remember when this place used to frickin' chock full of people. All right. Gibraltar. A while. If it isn't Chris, what'll it be? Lad from the Western Continent. Well, can't be going around gossiping about the comings and goings of my customers now, can I? That's a quick way to an empty tavern. Suppose. Then you. I can make the exception. I can make the exception just this once. Lad much like the one you described walked through my door not long ago. Asking anyone whose ear he could bend about some stolen narwhal or some such he was after. Usually you buy someone a drink before interrogating him, but not yet. Or interrogating them, but not him. Nobody knew what he was going on about, but at least he was determined. Elsewhere else in Ishgard, people might gather to flap their lips. Oh, I told him to head to the Jeweled Crozier. Leave now, I reckon he'll still be there. You'll know him when you see him. Trust me. All right. Let us head there now. All right, let's see where we're going. There it is, jeweled crozier. Okay. There he is. Ooh, dip. Looks like some trouble. Bunch of useless. By the narwhal's horn, you'd think manners keep people warm, but how desperately these people cling to them. And here I'm trying to rid their city of a thief. Yes? It seems you know me, but I don't think I've ever seen you before. I'd remember. Loa Zenique sent you. Even oceans across she can send when I'm in trouble. Well, I won't deny a helping hand, especially one with her blessing. I'm having no luck getting information from these people. Seems there are unwritten rules regarding favors that no one bothered to tell me. Oh, whoops, I skipped when I was trying to click. I know the thief traveled here, but that's where the trail runs cold. I thought it'd only be a matter of time before they used the cradle to commit some misdeed or other. But it seems nothing is amiss within or without Ishgar's walls. I have only a description to go on, although it's availed me nothing so far. A woman of a race known in this land as Elezen. She has striking red hair and eyes the color of rust. A scar dominates her forehead, and a mole rests upon her lips. She came to my village posing as a scholar with an interest in the cradle. Although she gave us a name, I know now it was a lie, just like everything else that spewed from her mouth. The bounty of meat, vegetables, and fruit she offered was worth its weight in gold to us. After the cold snap we suffered last year, we couldn't afford to turn her away. But looking back, I realize how brazen her deception was. Although she wore the robes of a scholar, she moved with the poise of a predator. I marked her as a fearsome warrior the moment I laid eyes upon her. Of course, she wouldn't have been able to travel so far north on her own if she was unseasoned, so I thought nothing of it at the time. It was my first misstep of many. That's all I know. It's not much, but if you see even the smallest scrap of a clue in there, it'd be a damn sight better than what I currently have. Few scholars study in Ishgard without passing through the Astrologicum. I see your point, but her guise as a scholar was only meant to win our trust. I doubt she's a woman of learning. Skill's sword would be known among the knights of the congregation. Knights, was it? I suppose that's what you call these deadly-looking fellows clad in steel, yes? Oh. Yes. You may be onto something there. But where would we find one so willing to speak? At their barracks near the tavern? I know the way. I'll meet you there. All right, off to the congregation of our knights most heavenly. There we go. Now I got my chat log back. All right, I'm gonna take the port from this manufactory because Firmable. Why, Master Valentine, what brings you to the congregation? This Passage of the Unbound is not a name I have heard before, but if one of their number has brought an artifact of great power to Ishgard, we would be ill-advised to suffer their presence. We shall act upon this information at once. If there is aught that would threaten the peace, then it is our duty to root it out. Consider the Knights of the congregation at your disposal. Thank you for healing us out, truly. Now, does anything about the description we shared ring a bell? An Ellison woman with red hair and eyes the color of rust. Wait. You said she bore a scar on her forehead, yes? And a mole? No. Could not be. You know who she is? Well, such information is usually privy only to those within our order. Pray understand my hesitation. What? Weren't you listening to anything we told you? She's too dangerous to be left alone. This isn't the time for secrecy. I know I'm a stranger in your city, but I can't stand by while innocent lives may be at risk. If you can't trust Tentowawa, then trust me. You are right, of course. The hero who ended the Dragonsong War is not worthy of your trust, and who is? Very well. Master Tentowawa, pray accept my apologies. Although you may not be its guardian, your desire to help its people safe is plain to see. Your desire to keep its people safe is plain to see. We shall place our trust in you, as Master Valentine has. I'm glad we can see eye to eye. Now then, what do you know of this thief? Your description called back some old memories. Memories of a knight named Leofine. Merely recalling her story makes me ill at ease. The mark she left upon our honorable order was black as pitch. None know of her whereabouts since she was expelled from the congregation. I had thought living with the shame of her deeds would be punishment enough. But if she now consorts with villains that threaten the very foundation of order, and it's clear we can suffer her freedom no longer. I shall inform my superiors of this development. Suggest that the congregation does all in its power to track down Leofine and place her in custody. If we learn aught of value, I promise to share it with you at once. Really? That is more than we could have asked! I suppose we ought to consider what to do in the meantime. Care to join me over there, Chris? Alright. We've got progress. Oh, wait, what's that glam?
Oh, you. That's an interesting coat. Is that the entire from Ueyawara? Nope, Scarlet goggles. How about the hands? Those are Guardian Core, of course. I should have recognized them. Okay. Okay, Tentowawa. So, we have a name. Leofine, a former knight of Ishgard. That means she knows how to hide herself in the city well. Grasping about at straws won't get us anywhere. My own unfamiliarity does little to help our chances. We may have no choice but to wait until the knights discover a lead. Nevertheless, I intend to spend every waking moment learning more about the city and its workings. As for you, I only ask that you be ready to move at a moment's notice. Until then, be well. All right, first quest down of many. In the next quest, we will be doing the level 92 quest, Sleepless in Ishgard. But for now, we're going to take a quick break. If you're watching on Twitch, stay tuned. If you're watching on YouTube, here are the links provided. See you in a bit.